Yeah, I think I can just take oncology as an example, right? Actually, so there are several challenges, and the challenges are always there. But then I think with a human collective human wisdom, the goal is how do we solve these challenges? And as a field, we have been able to come up with a lot of solutions. But just challenges, actually, there was a survey done actually in 2017 and by PwC, and then they found unstable or non-secure legal and regulatory framework as I think 92% of folks responded that was one of the major challenge. Second was lack of access to relevant data. Actually, that was the second challenge. That was approximately 58% folks responded, and the third was limited ability to integrate data sources. So I think the first was legal framework, and second and third were data actually. So I think this is these are some of the challenges. And taking tumor as an example, actually, so in a patient, tumors are, as they're very much heterogeneous, right? Actually, so I think finding an actionable mutation is always a challenge, right? But I think as a collectively we have been able to come up with a set of mutations, right, that can predict instead of just individual mutations. Also, tumor evolution has been a problem, or just say disease evolution, right? Actually, so initially when we the disease starts, actually, there are different biomarkers that classify. But after the treatment, maybe approximate treatment and some patients respond, but some remiss. So after remission, the genetic profile is entirely different, right? Actually, so that's a challenge. What will be the new genetic, profile that will predict from early versus later, tumor types, and number of mutations in cancers is very much, there are several mutations. So what are the actionable mutations and what are the non-actionable mutations? That's another challenge, actually. And also, different tumors or different diseases have, some are mutation driven and some are not, like, UV driven melanomas, actually, that are highest mutagenic cancers, actually, whereas rhabdomyosarcomas are relatively, not that mutagenic, actually. So I think these are some of the challenges, but overall, the view of cancer has changed from, so just take an example of lung cancer, right? We used to call some time back, squamous cell carcinoma, large cell carcinoma, or you have adenocarcinoma, right? These are the this was a traditional view. And, then there was a KRAS and unknown, and then EGFR, KRAS and unknown. But now we have, an array of mutations, BRAF, MEK, AKT, MAP kinase, PI3 kinase, EGFR, right? I think the number is, growing complex, actually. But I think that's one of the, these are the challenges, but we are, trying to solve, so as a collectively, the field has, come far, in addressing those challenges. Yeah, I think as I mentioned, some of the major challenges where the data analytics, right? Actually, that's as we come up with data as one of our driving forces in precision medicine. I think AI plays a major role. So one of the visions of the precision medicine is that creating this knowledge network, right, by bringing the three pillars of biomedical science: basic molecular sciences, clinical discovery, and population science, right? These are the three different pillars of biomedical sciences, and data from these, how can we bring together? So that will be digital health data, computational health data, imaging data, omics data, ethics and engagement data, that, together. And then all this data, from a hospital or healthcare system will feed into information commons, actually. So information commons, and that's where AI comes to play, where, you can basically have a data lakes, and AI can basically analyze the data by stacking all the genome, microbiome, exposome, behaviors, clinical tests, and patient data, EHR data together to basically foster knowledge, enable innovation. And as well as this data will again go back to the three pillars, basic molecular discovery, clinical discovery, and population sciences, and they can utilize this data to refine the biomedical discovery, further to a knowledge-enabled discovery, actually. So yeah, AI will play a major role in basically a data analytics, and then it'll be underlying thread. So we'll not be even talking about the AI, but everything is driven by AI, actually. Because one of the things about AI is radiology. I think there's a few examples. So now AI can read the radiology reports at par with physicians, actually, approximately similar. So physicians or hospital healthcare systems who are inundated with this radiology reports now can get a basic understanding, actually, a report by AI, and then they open to interpretation by the radiologist, actually. So that makes their lives a little bit easier, and similar has been done by in diagnostics. I think melanoma diagnostics, actually, using skin lesions. I think AI can predict now at par with the physicians, as well as a diabetic retinopathy. Some of the very impressive work that has been done at Google, actually, that to predict. So yeah, so AI will be will be the underlying thread in driving the innovation, actually. Yeah. It's basically the infrastructure the challenge can be addressed by having Center for Excellence, right? That's what we are working on right now, to establish a Center for Excellence and a regional Center for Excellence, right? At a state level, then regional, where majority of tests will be done, and then data will be interpreted, and all the physicians can take advantage of those centers, right? Actually, so that's one challenge, but can be easily addressed. And as the demand increases in the region, the hospitals and larger hospital healthcare systems can have their own local infrastructure to address these challenges, actually. So I think that'll be and the training and other aspects. I think that's also a major goal as we scale this precision medicine in countries and regions. I think how do we cater the training needs of the community, and AAPM has American Association for Precision Medicine has taken some initiatives in organizing training programs, symposiums, actually, and conferences, and focused events like data AI events, actually, oncology focused events, as well as overall generally bringing and we are also going to launch a physician focused training events in precision medicine with the CME credit to it, actually. So I think so together, I think we can bring the stakeholders together and address the training needs as well. And we have done it, actually, during pandemic. Actually, we have even explored a grant program where how we can bring the newly developed hospitals or centers, actually, that are helping the COVID patients. How do we basically address their training needs, actually? Yeah. So I think so that's these are the two challenges, but I think it can be easily handled, actually, at a state level, regional centers, very easily. Yeah, I think precision drug development suffered a little bit, actually, early on during the pandemic, as all the clinical trials were on the halt, actually, the whole world stalled, basically. Trials suffered, but then we all collectively found a way, and now life is back to normal, or so-called the new normal. and we have been very we are very successful actually, to make clinical trials. So virtual clinical trials, there is a huge demand in virtual trials. There is but then there are also in-person trials where we need patients that are patients that need in hospital care. So that are also on way. And overall, diagnostics labs have been working really tirelessly during this time to provide the necessary information that's needed to make those informed decisions to clinicians actually. So I think I would say that it's almost coming back to the so-called new normal. But I think it's we have to as a community, we all have to come together to see that no one left behind, and we all cater all the patients that are in need. One thing that has suffered is the patients are some of the patients are now not visiting hospitals that often that they used to actually. I think then that's one of the in the pandemic, that's the one trend that we have seen. But overall, I think now things are coming back to normal actually, especially in US, in many states. There will be a need for preclinical, anyway, because it'll be good to. So in precision medicine, there is a diagnostics and there is a drug diagnostic test. But in order to bring them to patients, I think it has to be validated in animal models, right? Actually, that's the traditional validation approach. And once that it's somehow especially the drug development part, right? Actually, and then if there is a mutation, we can do the clinical trial and then see. But then I think at least the drug testing part, if it can be done early on in animal models, or there are some three-dimensional cellular models that replace animal models. And I have worked during my career to develop those so that we can spare lives of animals, and then utilize these three-dimensional models to test that if the drug will work in that particular tumor type, and and with the particular mutation and cell type actually. So so I think it's necessary at a certain extent, and especially FDA requires some of the toxicology, early PK/PD data actually, so I think and then some of majority of them are done in animal models. So I think it will not completely go away, but I think it's still it'll be required to a certain extent actually. So data security is it's a major concern, and overall the whole healthcare field has to work together to promise that security actually. I think I have to say there are two, and I have asked these questions to our communities many times, and then I have gotten different answers. So I have asked this question to patients actually who are critically ill, and then asking them, hey, what do you think about your data privacy? And they said that, oh, we have a bigger fish to fry. We have, our lives is at stake, right? So if anything you do and you save my life, that adds value, right? I think that's and then the second answer that I have gotten is, hey, everybody has a cell phone and all the data is out there, right? So it's basically data is, but then when it comes to healthcare now, why are we much more concerned while we are giving away our data? That's another, but I think I totally, and that's another viewpoint that I have gotten. But then I think with the healthcare, there is we have to really a chances of discrimination, and at least in U.S. actually, GINA is a Genetics and Non-Discrimination Act that is in law right now. So nobody can discriminate a patient based on genetic information actually, which is illegal actually, and it's a law passed by U.S. government actually, which was so I think what I would encourage all the governments worldwide to kind of take that as a model actually, to have that if to number one, to have that kind of a law that nobody can be discriminated based on their genetic information, and together we have to work as an ecosystem to develop a robust, unhackable, database, so that we can protect the genetic integrity of patients actually. As all the medical schools and medical textbooks, they will be all upgraded. Some of them are already upgraded actually. Some of the professors, they're already have incorporated a real-time papers and findings actually that are very, very relevant right now actually. So I was a part of I did my PhD in pharmacology, but I was part of this MD PhD program. So we all took courses together. So I think that some of the courses were very much common, and I was impressed how very well we all were trained actually. So in how far the field has come up actually. So I think it's happening actually in US, but I think all around the world maybe it's not. So then I think we have to really it's a call for the professors and universities and the hospitals that are teaching those students, I think how best they can incorporate that in their curriculum. And there are very good books on precision medicine that are out there actually. I think that should be itself at least 3 credit course actually, if not a specialty. So I think the goal will be to so this is what I say, that as the field evolves, there will be no such thing as precision medicine, because it'll be just precision medicine, nothing else. Medicine will become precise, and the imprecise medicine will be gone. So I think it's good to lay the foundation for that future physician that will deliver the promise of precision medicine to patients. So incorporate digital health, which is a very fast growing field, data analytics, as well as what are the different drug diagnostics combinations that are available for different diseases, and how can they be how can they utilize that to with patients coming with different indications actually. Yeah, so I think that training need is very much, and I emphasize it early on, but I think as a community we can address that issue. Yeah, I think oncology has been, really at the forefront of the, field of precision medicine. Actually, I think we have seen a lot of advances there. Now it is routine here in the hospitals to go, when patients go to the hospital, their genetic profile is done. Sometimes based on what kind of cancers they have, a specific gene profiling is done and then they are given different drugs based on what are the profiles they have, what are the mutation profile they are positive for actually, or negative for. So this is all happening right now in the hospitals and healthcare systems. So there are also an additional layer of molecular profiling that includes even radio imaging as well, to bring that to as an additional layer, and so that we can better identify patients who will respond, and we can treat only the responders and spare the toxic responders, and as well as non-responders. So it is very important in cancer because as you know, the cancer chemotherapies are really really toxic, and sometimes a patient dies from the therapy itself and not from the cancer. So it's a major advancement that now we can do that real time in the clinic actually, and it's all happening. And it's all we have to do is scale it. So future is here, but it's not evenly distributed. So we have to scale it, scale this model globally in all hospital healthcare systems to basically extend the promise to all the populations around the world.